Hey, are you new to art? Are you taking a class? Maybe you haven't done any art since kindergarten? Or are you just struggling to improve? We're going to talk about how to be more successful with all this, and it starts right now. Welcome back, y'all. This is the Art Mentor. My name is Sean, and today we're going to talk about how to be a successful art student. I'm going to be condensing down all my years of experience and all my observations into the 10 most essential qualities of successful artists. Now, this video is made for grade school students, but this is definitely applicable to anybody that just wants to be better at art. So here we go. The first thing you need to know about getting better at art is that it takes work. This is a craft, this is a skill, and for that to be successful for you, you have to be really present. If you're taking this again as a student, then you're gonna probably need to put in just as much, if not more effort than you would from your core classes. You cannot just meander your way into being a better artist. You don't just wander into that skill set. You have to build it, and for that, you have to be present and recognize it's going to take work. This is definitely different than some people's expectations because some students are unfortunately just going to take an art course and assume it's just going to be an easy A, and then when they get in there, especially at the upper levels, they're going to understand that this is definitely not going to be their case. So understand that if you're going to want to pursue better artwork, it's going to take some work from you. Next up, great art students know that being a better artist requires some grit, because good art students understand that no substantial progress is going to occur quickly. To this point, you're gonna need to understand that you are going to try and not succeed quite frequently. Now listen, that does not mean that you are going to be a failure. That just means that you have not figured out the successful method of doing something. And this is something that a lot of people new to art or new to taking an art class don't understand, because they're going to take it very personally. And I'm gonna encourage y'all, your morale is everything. You cannot take it personally, okay? You're going to have to develop the ability to work through your failures. You're going to have to work through your unsuccessful attempts. You're gonna have to push through that 30th attempt to try and draw that apple or that face or that eye or that landscape. You're going to have to develop the ability to work through all this, and that's where grit comes into play. Again, understand that if you are new to art or if you're looking to improve your art, you are going to be unsuccessful more times than you are successful. That's just a fact. Next, you have to understand that being a better artist and improving your artwork is a long game. There's no short-term game. There's no quick method. There's no easy hack, easy way to do anything. It is the culmination of consistent hard work and efforts. Okay, you can watch as many YouTube tutorials as you want. You can go and read as many books as you want, but it's the practice, it's the skill building where magic actually happens, where you're going to feel like and you're going to recognize that you're going to become a better artist. You have to learn to deny instant gratification. Understand this is going to take time. Just to give you an example here, you don't go to the gym, do 10 sit-ups, and then you go home and for the next 2 years, you just have ripped abs, okay? Nor do you plant a seed and you dig it up every single day and expect yourself to have this big, luscious garden. It takes time for you to cultivate your skills, much like it takes time for a garden to be cultivated properly. This is the same thing. So again, you have to understand this is not going to happen quickly. So my fourth tip for y'all is that talent doesn't exist, okay? This is an underachiever attitude for you to walk into any type of artistic scenario and think, I can't do this because I'm not as talented as so-and-so, or I've never been talented, or so-and-so is more talented than me. Listen, y'all, this is an excuse. There are books, documentaries, there's research out there that backs this opinion as well. But overall, this is a limiting mindset and something that you have to get yourself out of. You can absolutely develop any skill level that you want, and hear me really well on this, as long as you have time, practice, and proper tutelage. Those are the only three things that you need. Nobody in this world has been born, nor ever will be born, a Rembrandt or Picasso. If you want to hear more of my thoughts about this and to prove to you why talent does not exist, you can watch my previous video on this topic, The Truth About Talent. Hey, how am I doing so far? What do you think? Tell me down below in the comments. And hey, if you enjoy my channel, make sure that you like and subscribe to support my content. So that all segues into number 5, which is that you have to develop higher standards for yourself. And for some of you, this is going to be a new concept because you're going to be battling what you have previously encountered or your previous experiences in art that's going to try and bring you down. But yes, you have to learn how to elevate your standards for your art making, because your standards are going to literally dictate your level of success, because your success is proportionate to your standards. If you have high standards, you're going to achieve a higher level of art skill than you thought that you were previously able to do. But if you keep yourself down low, then your perception is going to become that reality. And then you're going to start to say this wretched sentence where you're going to start saying things like, I can't see that, I can't make that, I can't blend that, I can't make that color, yada, yada, yada. These are all excuses. So while you're in the art making process, to help you out, here are some really key things that you want to constantly be asking yourself as you're in the middle of your art making processes. Ask yourself, what do I need to do next? Where do I go from here? Is that correct? How can I make this better? What areas am I avoiding? These are some really key tips and just kind of some mental things to go through as you're preparing yourself and you're going through your art making processes. My next tip has to do with your belief system, because I want you to rewrite your narrative. If you have been unsuccessful with art in the past, it does not mean that you can't produce art. It just means that you haven't found the right formula. You haven't built the right skill. You haven't gained enough experience, okay? It does not mean that you cannot make art. This is such a common thing. Adults tell me this. Students tell me this. Everybody of all age groups has given this excuse. Again, you are not bad at art. You have just not been successful in the past. That does not anchor your future to being unsuccessful. You just have to figure out, and you have to have that experience to figure out how to be successful. So to help you out with that, what I want to encourage you to do is definitely have the attitude of a true novice, which means that your brain's just going to be a sponge, okay? You're just going to soak up everything and you're not going to question it. Things that you're learning, especially if you're in an art class, you want to soak up everything that you know, because if you have the attitude of a true novice, you're just going to receive all of that knowledge and all that experience being conveyed to you and taught to you, and you're going to develop better skills than what you most certainly have right now. This is essential because your narrative, what you tell yourself, it's going to dictate your experience. Because if you walk into your art experience telling yourself that you suck and you've never made good art and therefore you cannot ever make good art, then you're going to have a miserable experience. But if you walk in again with an open mind and the attitude of a true novice, then you're definitely going to be able to surprise yourself with what you're able to do. So my next tip is for people that are not new to art, and that is that you need to drop your ego. This kind of segues from the last one if you're on the higher end of your opinion on your narrative of yourself, but you need to recognize that, again, the master was once a novice. So you need to realize that there is value in anything that you do in art. You can see this all over the internet with artists of extreme ability levels. They're still doing simple, basic stuff, simple, basic color studies and value studies and plein air paintings. They're doing all these simple, basic things. Why? Because there's always value. You're always able to keep on learning, even from the most basic tasks. So you are not too good to ever learn anything. I would especially hope that if you're taking a class, then you're going to recognize that you have some room for improvement. So therefore, you're going to be receptive to anything that you're going to do, because anything that you do is most certainly going to help make you a better artist. Overall on this topic, definitely don't get into the bad mindset, the egotistical mindset of thinking that you're too good to do something or you've done something too many times. You absolutely have not, and it's something you should continuously do anyways. So my next tip has to do predominantly with students who are typically really, really great at other classes, and then they come into the art class and they struggle a bit. And that's because being in an art class definitely requires a different type of mindset, because art is different. It's not black and white. It's not formulaic. You can't sit there and watch me or watch another teacher or watch somebody else do something for 5 minutes and then all of a sudden know how to do it. There's no formula for this. It's not about precision. It's about possibilities. It's about situational awareness and learning when to apply something. Overall, there's not a one-size-fits-all for all artistic scenarios, okay? You have to understand that the only way you're going to get better and learn how to develop any type of artistic intuition or awareness of when to use certain skills, certain abilities, is through work, because work and practice reign supreme in the art realm. That's how you get better, and there's no skating around that. Another thing that really, I think, kind of hurts the egos of students that are academically really successful and then they struggle in an art class is that when you're learning how to be a better artist, it is not about being right. It's about improvement, constant improvement. A really important quality of really great art students is that they know how to deny perfectionism. And for some of y'all, you might have heard perfectionism, or you might call yourself a perfectionist. And in the world of art, you really need to learn how to deny this aspect. And you really need to understand exactly what it is, okay? Because art is a very messy process. To be very clear on that, about 70% of the time that you're gonna be making artwork, it's gonna be really ugly. The other 20% of it, it's gonna be like, okay, or it's pretty good. And then the last 10% of it, you're gonna be like, wow, this is really cool. This is how I wish I could have done it at the start of this and I didn't realize I was able to. Or you're gonna be feeling really proud of yourself in that last, again, 10%. So the truth about perfectionism, and again, I did a whole video on this, you can go back and watch it. So the hard truth about perfectionism is that it is just a procrastination mechanism, meaning that people call themselves perfectionists when really what they're doing is avoiding what they don't want to do. A lot of times people hide under the guise of, oh, well, I'm just really hyper-focused on all these little details, when really what they're doing is they're just keeping themselves distracted from doing things that they don't want to do or accomplishing a larger goal. So what I would encourage y'all to do is learn how to turn that switch on and off. So as I always preach, you should only use your perfectionism mindset in the last 30% of any project that you're working on, because that's when you're gonna need to get really detail oriented there. And last, and most importantly, I want you to know, sincerely y'all, anybody can make art. There's nothing so special about being an artist that you can't do it or that anybody else can't learn this craft. It's not that special, okay? Nobody is born with it. Again, talent isn't real. You can do this. All you have to do is put your best efforts, your focused efforts forward, and really commit yourself to the process and be open-minded and rewriting that narrative about what you tell yourself you can or you cannot do. You have to open yourself up to the possibility that you can be a great artist yourself, even if you have never experienced this before in the past. I want you to have some blind faith, let's call it, in this process, and understand that if you really apply yourself, then you're definitely going to get there. One thing that I think a lot of people fall into the trap of is that they get too dissatisfied with where they are not. They identify there's a gap between where they are now and where they want to be. And that's not a bad thing so long as it is positive dissatisfaction. And what the difference between those two is that if you're in a mode of positive dissatisfaction, you recognize the gap, but you're also recognizing how your skills are gradually improving along the way. You recognize your gains while you're also recognizing your shortcomings, and you're actively working towards that. That's the best attitude to have right there. So please share these tips with people that you know that want to improve at art, or people that you know that are struggling in an art class, or they want to take an art class and not really sure what to expect. So let's help spread some knowledge and awareness for this amazing subject matter. Hey, do you have a topic that you want me to go over in a future art talk? Make sure to drop it down below in the comments, because what matters to you matters to me. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. This has been the Art Mentor. See you next time.